Last year, I made these two stand-up paddle boards. The lighter board is poor man's fiberglass, while the darker board is what I was referring to as frugal man's fiberglass. The construction on the lighter board is XPS, which is the expanded polystyrene, which is closed-cell foam, which is available from Home Depot and other home shops as well, like Lowe's. And then over that, once I got my shape, put some cloth down and painted it with latex paint. The construction on the Frugal Man's fiberglass is a mixture of extruded polystyrene and expanded polystyrene. Expanded polystyrene is what most people would refer to as styrofoam. Once I had the shape of that, then I used epoxy and actual fiberglass to make the protective covering. To be perfectly clear, the reason I call this Frugal Man's fiberglass is I used the cheapest epoxy I could find. It wasn't Total Boat or any kind of epoxy made for marine applications. It was the cheapest casting epoxy that I could find on eBay. So here we are a year later. How have the two compared? Well, with the poor man's fiberglass, the biggest drawback is that the board doesn't have surface rigidity. It's just paint, it's latex paint on cloth, directly bonded to the foam. So standing on this board is very much like standing on a foam board. You really don't get the feeling that you're on a fiberglass board at all. On the other hand, with the Frugal Man's fiberglass, it feels like the kind of board that you would buy from the store. It's rigid under your foot. It feels like the kind of board that you would expect if you were standing on a surfboard or wakeboard or something similar to that. However, on the Frugal Man's fiberglass, even though it's got a better feeling under the foot, as far as if you're used to standing on a surfboard or wakeboard or anything like that, this has not been the best way to go forward. The bubbles, I don't know how well they come up on the video, but these bubbles are huge and they're all over. This board is pretty well delaminated. Now, I do use this board a lot more often. I'm on this board just about every week, where the poor man's fiberglass just a few times a year, actually, although they're both stored in the same spot. But I think that from a durability and a usability standpoint, the poor man's fiberglass just wins out in just about every scenario. If we look closely here, we took a pretty big ding there. And you can see that there's a ding, but the poor man's fiberglass is held up, and there's really not an issue with the board there. On this board, we took a similar type of ding, and the fiberglass broke, and the foam underneath is showing through. So it's a good thing that it's closed-cell foam. Otherwise, I suppose it'd be absorbing a lot of water. But this isn't exactly the greatest technology. I'm not exactly sure what I'm going to do with this board. There's a possibility that I'll split open those bubbles and put some epoxy in there and seal them down. But there's a very good chance that I'll go ahead and get some cloth and put a poor man's fiberglass layer right over the top of it. So 1 year later, poor man's fiberglass clearly wins. Another disadvantage of the poor man's fiberglass is that it's not exactly an easy board to clean. Just the muck that's in the water, the saltwater canals here, kind of stains the board. Hitting it with a hose doesn't really get it off. I'm not so sure I'm interested in scrubbing it. But that is a downside of the poor man's fiberglass. In contrast, the Frugal Man's fiberglass is much easier to clean. Whatever kind of smut's in the water really doesn't stick to the board. So here's Mother Nature washing off the boards for me. But even though this board tends to be dirtier, There is no doubt in my mind, the next time I make a sup, it'll be poor man's fiberglass. This is just a quick update on the two technologies we use to make these boards. Poor man's fiberglass versus Frugal man's fiberglass. Thanks for watching my video. Hope you have a great day.